Well, today on In the Circle, we are joined by Murray State head coach Kara Amundson. And In the Circle, as always, is brought to you by Rawlings. Rawlings is the official softball of the Missouri Valley Conference and the NCAA championships. Rawlings is the mark of a pro. And Coach, welcome in one of the newcomers to the league. 11 seasons at Murray State. Just picked up your 300th win.
That's right. Yep.
That weekend. So congratulations on that and making that transition from the OVC over to the Missouri Valley. How has that gone for you?
Yeah, it's been great. The Valley coaches and staff have been incredibly welcoming. Obviously, some really, really solid competition across the board. I think that was a question we got asked a lot this past summer and fall. Look like being in the Valley. I think the good thing for us is that a lot of these opponents are familiar faces. We played Carbondale literally every year. We've played Evansville, we've played Northern Iowa even, so a lot of the competition was familiar in some ways to us as a non-conference segment to our last few years. So we kind of knew what to expect and what we were getting into in that world a little bit. And it hasn't disappointed, that's for sure. Every weekend we show up, we've got to show up to play. And we've done some really good things and we've learned some things that we need to get better at along the way. So it's crazy to think we only have 2 weekends left already. This year has absolutely flown by. But we're super grateful for this spot in the Valley for sure.
Yeah, I know. Every time you think you just start up with softball and then all of a sudden you're looking at the conference championship.
Yeah, that's right.
And speaking of conference championships, so a year ago, as we talked about last year in the OVC, you guys were able to get the tournament title and go on and represent the OVC in the NCAA tournament. Talk a little bit about that experience and then how that experience is maybe carried over to this year's team.
Yeah, obviously, a huge part of what we do as a coaching staff and why these kids want to play, when they're 15, 16, 17, that's what they see on TV. So getting an opportunity to go to the NCAAs for the first time as a program was huge. It was huge. It was a moment that I'll never forget with that group of kids. And now I think, I've said for a long time, I feel like Murray is a place that we can win at a high level. We got the first taste of what it takes to win and what that looks like and what that feels like. And I think that's something that we can kind of build into our culture now that we know what it looks and feels like. It's not just something we can talk about and shoot for. It's something we've experienced. So I think that's been huge for this year's team coming into a different conference, there's different opponents and things like that. But I think based on last year, we know what it takes to win. So if we can execute that at a high level, we're going to give ourselves a chance to be there. And that's all you can do. Winning championships, as I've learned over the last 11 years, is really, really hard. So getting a taste of what that feels like and looks like was pretty cool.
Well, talking about some of the competition in the Missouri Valley Conference, I had the opportunity to watch your series against Drake, and all 3 of those games go extra.
Marathons.
They were marathons. And I mean, I think it was 33 total innings.
Yeah. In 2 days.
So in 2 days. And so, I mean, have you ever been involved in a series like that?
No, never something that long. 1 extra inning game in a 3-game. 3 out of 3 were extra innings, which is not. I've never been a part of something like that. And, we've moved to a 3-day series, but because of weather and stuff, we had to do a double on Saturday and then a single on Sunday. So all 33 innings in 2 days. I think both teams' butts were pretty kicked by the end of that game on Sunday. And Sunday ended up being the longest of the 3 games too. So, we played a lot of softball that weekend for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and they were exciting games. I mean, they were fun and forth and, and talk about, I mean, on both sides, but your pitching staff has been stellar this year. The ERA, the team ERA is very low. And Hannah James is one of your pitchers. Tell us what makes her so effective.
Yeah, I mean, she just spins the crap out of the ball, like she makes the ball move. Her velocity is obviously very competitive. She throws 63 to 65 depending on the day, but she makes the ball move a lot and has really, really solid off-speed stuff. So it's just, you never know what you're going to get from her. She could throw different sequences to the same batter 3 different times. She's just that capable. And she has been since her freshman year. She's a 5th-year senior with COVID happening in the middle of her career, but she was the freshman of the year in the OVC, her freshman campaign, and she's just been pretty crazy when you start with that kind of accolade your freshman year and just find a way to continue to climb the ladder. So she's been huge for us, and I think she also has kind of helped create paths for other pitching staff, other members on our pitching staff. Like Jenna Weber was basically toe to toe with her with a lot of different things last year, and has been again this year, has been a huge workhorse for us. And then Bree Hayslip has gotten a lot of innings as a freshman that I think, again, you just learn how to execute at a high level when you can watch people on your team like Hannah James work like that. And, I think Bree has kind of, and Jenna and Bree both have kind of said, okay, that's what it takes to win. That's what we're going to do. And so our pitching staff has been super competitive and kept us in a lot of ball games for sure.
I mean, everybody talks about pitching and defense, and you guys certainly have both of those. And
yeah,
one of your fielders at shortstop, Gracie Osborne, I mean, she's amazing. We were talking before we kind of started up here. Everything she does, she's just really good at. And talk about how she has helped the team and what her role is.
She's been huge. Yeah, she's been huge for us. Again, another redshirt senior, if you will. So last year she played third for us because we had a shortstop that had been doing a plenty fine job. Gracie was new to our team last year as a transfer and played third base for us at a super high level. But coming into the season, we needed to make the change to shove her over to short. And I mean, you watch the kid for 2 innings and you can just she's just one of those kids that when you're looking, she's the first kid you look at and say she's athletic. She makes big plays. She makes things that a lot of kids can't do look easy. So having that leadership on the infield and her along with Lindsay Carroll at second base, they've been playing really fun ball together. So yeah, having a kid like her be able to scoop up some things that maybe not everyone can do is a huge piece of our puzzle for sure.
Yeah, you guys, as we said, 2 short weeks before the conference tournament, you guys are strong up the middle. I think you're going to be one of the teams to look out for.
I sure hope so.
As everybody does, right?
Yeah.
So looking forward to seeing you down in Carbondale just in a few short weeks. So thanks for joining us today.
That's
Coach.
right. Thank you so much for having me.